All right, so Three Ninjas Podcast, Domino, Hesh, Jones, Bobby. As of right now, if you're watching on YouTube with your Oculus, right now you can see that we have a guest in our midst, in our dojo. Album is out right now today, called Test Drive. We have motherfucking Mark Cooper in the dojo. Mark, how you doing?
Good, can't complain. You know that.
How's everything? How are you holding up in the Ronaverse? How is everything in Detroit?
Good, man. Detroit just is the same as it usually is. Dangerous.
Getting gunshots is Rona?
Yeah, probably so. There's probably a gang out there named Rona. I don't know yet.
Yo, that'd be dope as shit. Yo, we kill shit. Rona.
We kill shit, Rona?
Yeah, make it an acronym or something like real only something. I don't know.
Real only niggas in here?
That's in here is, you know what? Hesh,
real
cool.
nigga, real original niggas active.
Yeah. Rona. But Mark Cooper has an album out today called Test Drive. Now, why is it called Test Drive?
Because it's the third project of the Player One series. So if you follow Player One, the All-Star, Test Drive's the next thing where I literally go into a different genre and merge into that. So it's just like, a new type of album, and it's a test drive.
Okay. All right, so 17 tracks. Now, how many tracks are actual music and how many are skits? I think it's like 3 skits on there, 4 skits on there.
About 3 skits and 16 tracks. So yeah, about 3 skits.
Okay, do you think you gave them enough? Because a lot of niggas nowadays is doing like EPs where it's like 8 songs, 7 songs. A lot of people ain't putting out really full length projects. Do you feel like you did too much? You gave them enough? Like what?
No, it's perfect, man. The perfect 16. I'm part of the older aesthetic stuff. So since it's got a little bit of the older side, I like to give people a full album anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I run with it.
Okay. Now, you do nerdcore hip hop. Now, for those that didn't catch your first interview that you had with us, what is essentially nerdcore hip hop?
Nerdcore hip hop is like a subgenre using hip hop, but it's more focused on like nerd based. So anime, video games, cartoons, etc. It's just topics just focused on that.
Okay, now, do you think that you're reaching your full potential while doing nerdcore hip hop? Do you feel like you can do more outside of that genre, or do you feel like, this is what I like, this is what I want to do?
Well, this is what I like, and this is what I really do. I can reach out to all those other things, but the trick is to be able to not just necessarily make it nerdcore, make it something that's cohesive for the vast majority. Everybody knows who SpongeBob is. Everybody knows who Batman is. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So if I'm already, making it cohesive music where anybody can enjoy it, I mean, the possibility is endless,
Okay. Now, do you go into it knowing what references you're going to use for what song, or does it just come up when you hear the beat like another rapper where it's like, oh, I hear the beat, this is the subject genre I'm going to go with? Or do you just know offhand like, hey, I'm going to talk about these subjects, these nerddoms in this song? Like what's the process, I want to say?
It's a little bit of both, man. Sometimes when I get into particular like conceptual albums and things like that, what I like to do is just be like, okay, I'm going to kind of keep it in this particular aesthetic, and then just, like everything themes together. So for example, this theme was like 80s stuff, just a little bit. So what I did is I kind of went with the aesthetic of how I produce to the types of topics I talk about, and just kind of cohesively put them all together. So it just really depends on it, because I even do something like that, and I'll go into anime, do something like with My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball Z, etc. And they're things that, all correlate for what I do in my music anyway, but I try to make them relatable in an overall big concept, other than it just being a slew of tracks that you see normally on YouTube now.
Okay. Now, is it hard to incorporate, I guess, these different like fandoms in your raps when you trying to make a song? Because, if you stick with something like Dragon Ball Z, you got to make all the references. You got to, put stuff in there that people know. Is it hard to do that when you?
Nah. The only reason why it's not difficult is because I'm not wiki rapping, if that makes sense, which is a term where individuals will make a rap because of it's a popular trend. Like, for example, they'll look at Demon Slayer and be like, oh, that's a new anime out. So they'll go to Wikipedia and do like a good, paraphrase of what the character is. And then they'll make a rap about it using that. And it's like, well, okay, you told me Demon Slayer. All right. I watched the show. I know what the character's about. And then they just leave it at that. But it's just that kind of thing. But since I grew up with Dragon Ball Z, or I grew up with Naruto, or if I'm a fan of something, if I'm a fan of whatever I'm rapping about, I have an easier time than when I have no idea about.
Okay, but have you ever done the thing where you wiki rap? Just because it's like a cool thing right now, but it might not be something that you're necessarily into.
Well, I've done it in ciphers when individuals wanted me to jump in a particular cipher with it. I don't particularly go into it that much, but when I do my solo particular projects and stuff, no, I don't.
Okay. Now, I noticed on a lot of your projects, you don't collaborate with a lot of people. Is that on purpose, or is that, something that just doesn't work out with the song, or like what happens?
Well, the thing is like, it's always fitting in the genre too. So you always got to try to find individuals who, kind of fit in the same pocket that you do. Like, I went a little bit more in test drive with certain people that are out of that genre, that can do it. But at the same time, with Player One and the Allspark, I was trapped in the game by myself. So I had to keep the aesthetic that I was by myself until I got to, the destination of this album, which you'll see the final album, Gerald's Field, be a lot of features because I'll be at where I'm supposed to be. So I kind of made that aesthetic on purpose with the album series. So I went really story in it. So I'm a nerd in the continuity, and it makes sense.
Okay, because we had a early listen of the album, and I don't want to spoil what happens at the end and shit, but that kind of leads to something else and all that.
Right.
Now, is there anyone in the blurred rap community that you want to work with?
Well, a lot of people I have worked with. Like, I've worked with 6 Seconds before years ago. I would definitely like to work with him again. I've already worked with Game Boy Jones, Mega Ran, Richie Branson will probably be on the list. There's quite a few that's out there that's more and more in the community. I don't know if you've seen the Pokemon cipher, the Pokemon rap cipher.
The one on YouTube?
Yeah, they got like
I saw that one. Yeah,
they got like 28 of them.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of those guys out there. Ironically, before Rona hit, I was supposed to be at MomoCon to be in that next Pokemon cipher, but since we can't do it, that's what happened. But yeah, there's quite a few out there that are interesting. So I just keep my eyes open.
Okay, now how has Rona affected you? Because it's fucked up the whole world, and us as nerds, we can't go to conventions, we can't do the things that we love. Most people just complain about not going outside and not going to the beach or some shit. But, us being as nerds, we can't go to conventions. We can't, see other nerds. We can't, be amongst our people and amongst our brethren. So, like, how has Rona affected you?
Well, it's affecting me in like ways of understanding, like, damn, you can't go to this and you can't do that and all that stuff. And I love cons and conventions, but you would think, because of me being in that nerd genre and me performing at conventions, like, what would I naturally do?
Yeah.
Right.
But what it was able to teach me is that I needed to thoroughly understand, what it takes to push out the brand the best way I could. So what I did is I just focused on, more of the content, more types of beats, kind of sit down and, literally, do every nick and cranny when it comes to, building a brand. So I've been, just making sure I got all the other stuff, in place. So when 2021 comes in, I'm not walking in there like, oh, okay, so what am I going to do this year? Just, just preparing for the future. It's the only way you can really do it.
Right. Now, how long has this album been done?
I want to say about maybe a month and a half.
Okay, so you recorded some of this post-Rona.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how many songs were done previous to Rona?
I want to say the thing is with Test Drive, it was always supposed to be an EP at first. But since Gerald's Field is so much bigger, I combined and did 2 EPs in the same album. Okay. So when you heard the album, that's why you heard the difference of the split.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was going to ask you about that. So now,
because I remember, because at the end of the day, like by the time it'll be out, so you can go and do what you do. Yeah.
Now, why do that? why not, like I said, everyone, in this Ronaverse is, they're pretty much, have a low attention span. So why not put out the EP with like a part 1 or part 2 or just, whatever you want to do? Why put out so many songs at once and not just do 2 EPs?
Well, the reason why I did it is I'll let you know in the album. Have you noticed in the album where after each song it had 1, 2, 3, 4 things like that, and it'll be like a word at the end of the album?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a message that you can read backwards and forwards.
I didn't even think to do that.
Yeah. So it's an actual decoder message backwards and forwards. So
Tourette's or some shit. I thought you were just spitting out shit.
nah, man. It's just about being nerdy and things like that and having fun with it. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to go into the synthwave genre to just, just kind of show it off. That's why I collab with Runaway Droid and Ace Buchanan. They're both artists from Finland. The guitarists from Finland. But yeah, so they do that aesthetic and everything. Like that's why I reached out to Ray that does the guitars for Screw Attack and 1 Minute Melee on Toys R Us Kids. It's just really about just trying to change the way you listen to an album. See, the thing is, a lot of people's EPs is just a group of songs that they didn't put on another project sometimes.
Right.
There's no correlation. And since I listen to, concept albums and stuff like from the Lupe to Logic to M and everybody, having a conceptual album is the reason why it kind of engages people to listen. And since it's got 2 sides of the project, now I'm attacking 2 audiences at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So by combining all those things together, it'd be like, wow, that's neat. Wow, that's cool. And that's why I did with the skits and I did with the podcast stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's different things to pay attention to in the album. And so it's not just you got everything on the first listen. And that's the point of making concept albums.
Yeah, make sure you check out Track 3. Now, has Corona made you more creative in this, when you have to stay home and then, essentially you have nothing to do. So the only thing to do is either, chill and relax or just, tap into that creative side. So
yeah, it's got its hands into it for sure, because not only that, I've been coming out with beat tapes every single month this year, along with all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, different kind of beat tapes like Saturday Morning Cartoons Volume 4, and then instant credits where it's just the 8-bit video game beats and stuff, and television shows. Like, it's always, triggered my creativity. But it was one of those things. It's like, personally, to be honest, right before Rona, I got laid off at my job because they didn't have any more work or whatever. So I caught it before even Rona even came by.
Right.
So I was already in that position where I was like, okay, so, you prayed for time because you felt like you never had enough time. Now you got it. What you going to do? So I took advantage of that, and I decided to really put fruition to what I really wanted to do. So once I was able, it had the gears moving and things like that. It was nothing to stop it at that point. So that's what I was able to do.
So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise type of thing.
Exactly.
Okay. Because that's happened with a lot of people. A lot of people have been laid off, and they've either been taking the approach of, if I'm laid off, I'm going to do what I've always wanted to do, whether it was to start a business, write a book, start a podcast, whatever the fuck. Or some people's like, you know what? I've been working so hard, I'm going to just sit around on my ass and not do shit.
Exactly.
So you did the opposite. You're like, you know what? I'm going to take this time. I'm going to create some music. I'm going to make the most of this.
Yep.
Now you've been laid off. Now, do you plan on, I guess, getting back to a 9-to-5 job, or are you going to put all your all into, like, I guess, this rap thing? Because now you have the most free time.
Well, personally, I've always believed in the 9-to-5 anyway. You always want to have some kind of stability where it doesn't make it a situation where the music is your livelihood, because sometimes you grow to hate it. You know what I mean? You'd never want something that you're passionate about to grow to hate something, because that's just not that's not the wave. But I will say that, even going from college and things of that nature and understanding where I really want to be, it's good to be able to have, the training information. That's why I take online classes now to get certifications. So, because at the end of the day, when you go back in that job market, there's 4 million people that's trying to figure out the jobs that you're trying to get.
Yeah.
So be as much prepared as possible So if an opportunity does come up, you'll be able to present yourself well and get into a better position. That's what I'm looking at. Just take the time to just feel like it's a hyperbolic time chamber and make yourself as best as you can and go for it when it's time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now the juxtaposition to that is if you have a plan B, how serious do you take plan A?
I take plan A super serious, and that's definitely music for sure. But I am one of those individuals who makes sure I have a setup of a plan B, the foundation plan A.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe in that. You know what I mean? Like just like anything else. You could be a shooter on the court all the time, but if you don't have an option to pass the ball, you know, it makes it harder for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Now, ultimately, where do you want to take this? Like, is it just, something that you do for fun? Is it something that you want to take serious? You want to do like, well, you can't tour right now, shit, because Rona. But is it something that you want to, take to, stadiums and cons and like what's the ultimate plan?
Well, to be honest, man, it would be go on a higher level when it comes to that, like being able to perform at arenas and things like that. I've already did a tour last year, so I performed at cons and conventions and stuff. Right. And I'm getting to those particular points. I want to be able to tour the world with it, be able to do a convention in Japan or in the UK, things like that. Meet up with a lot of of my heroes and stuff like that. Because originally I just wanted to visit every con in the world just to have that bucket list of experience in it. Meeting heroes you never got a chance to meet, because believe it or not, our era of people are getting old, man. So we want to make sure that we can meet those individuals. I'm still sick. I never got to meet Stan Lee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But it's like one of those kind of things, just capturing nostalgia and just enjoying, what we normally do. So.
Yeah, it's fucking running and fucked up a lot of shit for people.
Yeah, dude.
The cons was the biggest thing for me because, I was looking forward to going to BlurredCon. I was looking forward to possibly going to New York Comic Con. Maybe it's like some other cons, but, it's just like the world as it is right now is just not having. Now we're doing everything virtually. Have you done any concerts virtually or like attempted to?
Yeah, I have. I definitely have. What?
How is it?
It's actually, it's weird, man. It's like, I'm not going to lie to you. When I say player, you say one and nobody says nothing. That shit is weird, dude. Like,
all right, type it.
Type it. One's in the chat.
The one's in the chat.
Right. Oh my God, man. But the thing is about it, it's just like almost doing like a Facebook Live and you're rapping off it. But the cool thing about it is now you got the ability to engage with other individuals. You also have like a video portfolio. So if a label or A&R was looking at your performance value, they can see that. It just really depends on, what you do afterwards. Just making sure that all your social media stuff makes sense, because then you just be performing for air.
Right.
So that's just, it's one of those kind of things where you just got to be.
Now, if this is the new norm, where, people have to do stuff digitally or virtually. Now, can an artist like you thrive in this format?
Of course. If anything, we can thrive a little bit more than the average artist now, because now we have something going on. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm rapping and then I bring in two girls to twerk in the video, be like, what was the concept? Now I can do green screen backgrounds and I can make conceptual based things in the show. I can be more creative on that particular level. And the fact that I play games and, watch anime, doing nostalgic cartoon things and things like that. There's a lot of things I can do at this point, because now anything that anybody remembers visually is now in front of you and I'm making music about it. So it's almost like, all right, I see this guy rapping. That's cool. But when they see like, whoa, he's mentioning Rugrats, he's mentioning blah, 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 I know what he's talking about. And it's more of an engaging situation. In nerddom, we like to be entertained, but we like to know what the fuck you're talking about too.
Definitely. So
with anybody else. And what's great about mine, just to saying it, is that I don't swear in my music. So my music is available for all ages. You know what I mean? Like I have fans that like anywhere between like 5 to 80. Because of the fact that it isn't like that. they'll be like, oh, I remember Star Trek. I remember watching that when I was a teen. Or they'll be like, oh, I remember, like SpongeBob and Nickelodeon and stuff like that. Kids enjoy that stuff.
Mm.
So it's just opening the market to anything. So once you do that, it's like, okay, there's nothing you can do wrong at that point.
So you're like the Will Smith, like this blurred shit.
Right.
Yeah, basically, but less clean,
So that was a conscious thing from jump, or was that something that you kind of like adapted to over time?
It was something I adapted to over time. My mom was the first person to tell me my music was whack. So, that was like when I started. So after that, she was like, I understand you want to do the music thing, but if you want to, try making an album and only swearing 6 times. Just give it a shot. And then the rest was history after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Forced to be more creative.
Yeah.
I could never do that.
Yeah.
I feel like if I try to make an album like first song, fuck shit ass bitch.
Yeah. Boats and hoes. Shit.
Boats and hoes.
You got 2 more on this EP.
Right.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Shit.
Now, you said that Test Drive is basically 2 separate EPs smashed into an LP. So now, what was your mindset making one half, and what was your mindset making the other half? Because the other half, I'm fucking with. First half, cool. Second half, I'm fucking with. What was you in with both of them?
Well, here's the thing, man. I've always been a fan of the 80s aesthetic, like growing up. So that's the Running Man, that's the Rockies, that's all that. I just love that heavy synth over, like Phil Collins drums. I like the grit of it. So that's what I like about it. And then the best stories always, anything that's epic. For some reason, the best stories are told over beats like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So you be feeling, we talking about, oh shit, this is about to happen, blah, 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 blah. But it was a genre I always wanted to do.
And those beats are like timeless. Like it's a song that it was on Top Gun, Tom Cruise, like Take My Breath Away. That shit that should never get old.
Never. Or Danger Zone, yeah.
Yeah. Danger Zone.
Right, you always remember it. So I wanted to do that because it's the test drive. So all I can think about in the driving scene is 80s aesthetic, like Drive. And then that's why it's called Fluff the Phantom Focus, but it's based off of Kit, the Knight Rider. So it's like a car that talks back with me. And then that's why I'm going on the way to Gerald's Field, is what the gist of it is. So that's why I had podcast stuff in between stuff, because then it'll look like, because he said it's major radio, you'll be a major problem, you change the station. So that's why when they got the news breaking, he was like, I'm here because somebody fucked up. So that way I can, put everything all together. So that's what I was trying to do, to make the driving experience of it. So when I got to Gerald's Field, now that's proving grounds type stuff. So that's like the 120 stars, that's heroes, that's action when I'm rapping about 80s movies, you know what I mean? So that's why I went on that side. So I was like, okay, we got the journey part, now let's get to the rap shit. And that's basically what you would have, been with Domino. That's why I did it.
Okay. Now, on any of these tracks, were you in love? Like you was feeling somebody? Something happened?
Maybe.
No, I'm gonna try to play this and hopefully it come through good. This song is my shit,
What it takes someone love or whatever? Yeah.
This is my shit, nigga. Like, who is she? What nerddom she like? What happened? Like,
it's funny, dog. Like I've written that record just thinking about just, it was just an inspiration. Somebody was in the room. I was like, I got what it takes to love. You know what I mean? It's like one of those kind of deals.
Now, does she know it's about her?
She got a little bit of, she might have some hints in there,
Okay. I fuck with that. Now, Sky God, what was the inspiration behind that?
Okay. Now, Sky God was the individual who would have the left-handed power glove. That's an artist named Prowess the Testament. She's also on the Action Beat rapping with me. And she does nerd content too. Right out of DC. She's out where you guys are at, like in that area. So the thing is, Sky God is one of those black exploitation based, stories back in, I believe in the 70s. I hope I don't get it wrong. She'll kill me. But she actually has a project called The Sky God. So it's just about like a sexual mistress, things like that in the story. So it's pretty cool. I'll definitely link you to it. But I like there's a part in the song that I really like the instrument of. So I asked her, I said, hey, is it possible I could see that loop for that? And she was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I made it like Dear Sky God, and it just sounds like a strawberry letter kind of thing, kind of writing it out. It was like one of those kind of beats where it's like it's got a Griselda feel because there's no drums or anything in it, but it allows you to pay attention, but it's a soothing pay attention kind of. So I went and explained what happened when I got to Geraldsville. Like it's just like this is some bullshit anyway. That I just got here for no reason kind of deal. Like the main cliffhangers of the album and things like that. So it's when I got a chance to just meet up with her, which is why I set up the intro that way. So that was kind of the angle to go.
Okay. Now, does the left-hand power glove actually exist, or was there only a right-hand one? Because
there was only a right-handed one. The left hand does not exist.
You was talking to it like you found it. Like, did he find this
shit? Now you get both. You get both. It's sweet. That's why you need the left-handed. That's why I was saying that, try to pitch it in and be like, okay, the Allspark is the glove. Okay, we get it. But then you'd be like, so if you got the Allspark already, why aren't you out of there? You know what I mean? Right. I had to make sure that they knew that, this is the real deal. Like the real game is Test Drive.
You know what I was thinking? Is that the actual voice actor to Mordecai?
No. but the funny thing is, it's one guy that did all those voices.
Oh, so it's not really Goku? It's not really Sean Chamel? None of them?
Nah. However, David Fielding is in the album though. The voice of Zordon, he is in the album.
I was fooled. I was fooled. I
wouldn't do you guys like that.
Yeah, but I was listening to it and I was like, damn, this would be a really good TV show, like on some Adventure Time shit with the music and everything, because the way you had it structured, it was like albums not like that no more. And that's one of my gripes with albums. That's why I don't fuck with them, because they sound like mixtapes. But yours, like I was just sitting in the car like, damn man, this should make me think of like things like Steven Universe. In Adventure Time along the time like that. I was like, damn, if this was in a TV show, it would be a good actual show the way you worded it out.
Yeah, but the thing is about it is that I had the ability to get those particular ones. But the thing is, I would have ran the copyright infringement because they own their voices.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. So I wanted to make sure I kept the aesthetic for what it is. So if they just enjoy it for what it is, it's cool. I'd be like, wow, that's awesome. Like, if I did have a conversation with Goku, what would he say? You know what I mean? It's just that aesthetic is for the people who are like super fans of that and hearing the album for that. It's just keeping the magic. I worked for Disney for 6 years. So all we do is try to make sure you can make it as, imaginable as possible. So that's why I kind of did in the album. There's stuff I always wanted to do. So it's just, sometimes getting those voices to say, because I wrote the scripts and everything too. So by putting it all together and all that stuff, people will really, just enjoy it for what it is. And that's kind of what I want the experience of the albums to be.
So when you got the Green Ranger to do that shit, you wrote all that shit that he said?
I sure did.
Now, what was that process of getting him to do the album?
I asked.
That was it? That was it?
Hey, yo, Tommy, let me ask you a question.
Hey, yo, Tommy, yo.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
The flute in that shit.
Yeah, it's just a matter of just asking and then understand what your situation is, and just making sure that you ask them correctly. You don't just be like, "Yo, bro, I really want you on the blah blah blah." I've met them before, in certain things and things like that, and they heard the Green Ranger song I made for them, so it kind of worked.
Okay. Now you used to do the songs that you used to put on Instagram and shit. What happened to those? Like you did it for like a cool maybe like 2 months or so, and then like
the Mark Cooper Monday stuff.
Yeah, Mark Cooper Monday.
Actually, all those records were all songs are already released.
Oh, okay.
So they're all on like Allspark and Player One and things like that. So I was releasing them all then with the lyric videos and stuff. But since the album is coming, I'm getting ready to put that, and then I'll start up again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now on the next project, is this nigga finally gonna get out the fucking realm? Like, what else does he need? Like the Tesseract, the Omnitrix, the
Nah, this is the last one. This
what
is
else does he need to get out this motherfucker?
no. Gerald's Field's the last album for the completion. That'll be exactly a year from now. So July 9th, 2021.
Okay, now do you have albums planned beyond that? Like, do you have a whole like series planned in your head of albums that you want to do and subject matter like that?
Well, I mean, I know you guys, so I guess I'll say what I'm gonna do. In October, I'm dropping a small EP. Haven't told anybody about it. You guys will be the first to hear it.
Exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. This year's the 35th anniversary of the NES.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
It's been 35. Yep, October 16th, 1985. So I got an EP with Nintendo-based project coming out here next time.
Ooh.
I feel like that shit was the fucking Nintendo was a Libra, nigga.
Yeah.
I'm a Libra too. That shit was born for me. I'm here.
Right.
So now what's going to consist on this EP? Is it all like Nintendo references? Is it shit that we might not get if we born past a certain era? Like what?
No, I mean, I'm going to keep it NES, like just to, learn the small bits about it. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be some really dope stuff, man. I'm keeping it in the 8-bit era of particular beats and stuff, but it's not going to be that over the top super hi-hat dash and it literally like, out of control sometimes, but no. Mm-hmm. So it's something that's going to be really cool. A lot of people are going to relate with it. I may merge into Super Nintendo with it. I'm just kind of in a debate about it.
You're trapped in another fucking world. God damn, yo.
You got to do it, dog, man. You got to be sweet.
How the fuck you going to get out of Donkey Kong, nigga?
Jumping over barrels like everybody else did.
Nigga Jumpman had a hard time with that shit.
Right.
Now, do you ever worry about, I guess, oversaturating people with the references of the video games and the anime and the nerdoms? Do you ever feel like that you might lose some people when you do it every song or do it too much?
Nah. The only reason why I say that is because it's just about fitting the aesthetic for it. Like, the way I write is I don't necessarily be the person who literally be like, all right, Dragon Ball Z, 87 references. Like, I mean, I know for the fact that I rapped before I started to be really, content heavy, I know the difference between, overdoing it or whatever. I like to use the nerd references to, to relate to anybody else. You know what I mean? Don't catch me slipping, Banana Peel, Mario Kart. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like doing stuff like that, or be like, if I'm first, you're after me like a blue shell. Just like so people can understand what I'm saying is cohesive enough. See, that's what it is. There's a lot of people who try to do the nerd stuff, and they literally basically tell me a story about what I already fucking know.
Right.
Like, bro, I know Sonic runs fast, bro. I got 30 years experience. I appreciate it.
Being like extra specific.
Yeah, just also played. Right.
Just to be the nigga that tries to rhyme like Wolfang Fisk and Destructo Disc. Don't be that nigga.
Oh, that's a bar though. That's a bar though.
Talk about.
That's flavor.
I'm mad. That was sweet though.
Can I get on the album? Next album, yo? Can I get on the album?
You already on the album.
I'm talking about rapping, nigga. I want to rap, nigga.
We'll see, bro.
That's a no.
I got you.
You ain't got it.
You ain't get the juice, kid.
You ain't got the juice, kid.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, now, so you're releasing a EP in October with the NES. Are there any plans to like go further with like the SNES, the Nintendo 64?
I'll probably make those like anniversary projects. Like when those systems actually drop. And the thing is, these EPs are literally just like 5 records. Like, it's not anything.
Yeah, it's not anything.
Nothing super intensive, not really story driven. It's just, just paying homage to what I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, is there anything else that we should know about the album that we don't know about the album? Anything that you want to tell us? Any tidbits? Any like secret things that we need to know? Any behind the scenes things that we need to know? Anything that's interesting?
Okay. Well, I will let you know that in Test Drive, I do reveal Major's last name, and it's Label. Major Label. I'm trapped in a game called Nerdcore by an enemy called Major Label.
Okay. So what does that allude to?
In other words, what I'm telling you is that, remember how you said, do you feel like that you're in a box with this and you would think you want to expand other genres and stuff? Well, I wrote a whole album concept about it.
Okay.
So going to Gerald's field is where everybody else is.
Got you. All right. So now we getting into different.
Shit deep.
Yeah.
So now, are we? So are you saying that you're starting to stray away from the nerdcore aspect and getting into just more hip hop, or is it just like what are you combining it to? Like what's happening?
Okay, so long story short, what I'm saying is that it's not. I'm writing the concept about what it feels like to be inside the box, but at the same time, it's like how you feel about being a nerd in public. So I kind of combine both of those aesthetics together. So now I make it as an after Gerald's field, and when you find out at the end and I get out of the game, essentially, it also lets people know that, you know, it doesn't matter about what kind of box you in, you just be yourself. And that's the whole point. Okay. So if you see in the album that, just following, I know it's Easter eggs and nerd shit, and I understand, but I'll just tell you, when Tommy calls me Mark Cooper, it doesn't call me Player One.
Right.
It's giving the aesthetic that only Rangers really know the real names of the Power Rangers. Just like when I said in Player One, you know, using your real name could be used for, you know, people can know who you are too quick. So at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I'm not Player One, I'm Mark Cooper.
Okay.
And it's not just me being the name aesthetic, it's being who you are. And that's the basis of the entire album.
Dope. So I can't wait for people to hear this shit. It's out today. Now, where's it available at? All
streaming platforms and Bandcamp as well. And then there'll also be vinyl and cassettes ready for it too. And then don't have the flash drive with me. I got a flash drive with a key, and I call it the key to the game. So that comes with all the albums and all the other stuff in discography. Okay, so when can we pick up the cassettes and the vinyl? Because I definitely want a cassette, my nigga. Well, we go do the pre-orders on the 9th. So yeah, so we do the pre-orders on the 9th, and it probably should come in like in probably either August or September or something like that, determining how long the press ups are. But then we just mail it to you and everything, and you get some pretty cool stuff with it when you get it. So okay, do we get a glove? No. No. You gotta do Player One condoms or something like that. It's like, yo, this is the glove. Condom could be the glove. I don't know the aesthetic for the glove.
God damn.
Just not yet. If Nintendo gives me the bread, sure, bro.
I mean, Big Pun did it. Shit.
Nintendo gonna sue him so quick. You put an NES logo on somebody. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I tried, my nigga, but everything don't work. So it's out right now. So it's out on Apple. It's out on Spotify. It's out on fucking Pandora. It's out on all your DSPs. You know, go stream that now. Go buy that. Support the homie Mark Cooper. Support nerdcore hip hop. Support nerds.
I was about to say something crazy.
Right. What happened? What you about
to say? I was about to say something crazy. Because you said the Power Glove condom. I was about to say, so your penis be the power shot?
Come on, man.
The zapper.
The zapper.
See, man, this why we can't have nice things. To be, luckily, he listen to us, and then he know the flagrant shit that we say. So, like, kind of bounds, but, you know.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, you know, Mark, thank you for coming on the show. Hope the album does good. You know, we fuck with you. You know, thank you for fucking with us.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, hope everything goes good. So, you know, next time, October, we want to talk to you again to talk about this NES album.
I got you.
All right. So, you know, other than that, you'll be easy, man.
For sure.
All right, man. Peace.
All right.
All right.